So hello and welcome to Dommy Tries This. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's coffee mug is the Valentine's Heart coffee mug that my husband gave me this year. It has a slightly raised heart in the front. And today's tea is the Stash Tea Vanilla Honeybush. This has organic honeybush and organic vanilla extract. That's it. As usual with the stash teas, I have 2 tea bags in here. But what is different is that I have tried one of the honey sticks from the Dollar Tree subscription that I have. And we're going to see how we like it. I did get a little bit on my fingers, and it did taste just like honey to me. Not any stronger or any weaker than any other honey I've had. Not sure that's worth keeping the subscription for. Probably won't. If I keep it, I probably won't keep buying them. But we're going to give it a try. We only put 1 stick in here. And I like sugar, so this is going to be interesting. Let's give this a taste. I have had this. I still got honey on my fingers. Sticking to everything now. I have had the vanilla honeybush on the channel before. It is a tea that I like. It is light and kind of on the refreshing side. It's one of the sweeter teas. It's one of the reasons why I decided to try the honey with it. So let's dive in. Yeah, no. Okay. I'm going to have to put some more sugar in this because that didn't do anything. Seriously. Nothing. That did nothing. Nothing at all. Not impressed. I'll be right back. Now that we have the appropriate amount of sugar in here, that's more like it. Now, what's interesting about that sip, like I said, I put in probably just a little bit less than I normally do, but I actually got the actual honey from that sip. Yeah, so far that box is not impressing me. Anyway, moving right along, as it notes below, we are going to talk about some of my favorite brands. I tried to pick brands that I actually have a variety of things from, but some of them, 2 of them only, there's all I have right now is eyeshadow palettes. I admit it, I'm a palette junkie. I am. But anyway, so there's a couple of different things to talk about, especially when it comes to eyeshadows, that makes a brand a favorite. And so I'm going to give you the criteria for which I picked these and why I like them. And then we will go through the actual brands. There's a nice variety here of drugstore priced and to more luxury brands, but in general, I think most of these, well, most of them I would term affordable. Most of them. One or two of them may not be, depending on where your budget's at. Not all of them are going to be drugstore priced. That's just how it is. But anyway, so what put a brand on my favorites? One, especially when eyeshadows, pigmentation. Their products have to have some really decent pigmentation. It has to actually show up. When you have glasses that hide your eyes, which I'm still waiting on the new ones, so they coming. I'm going to be blind for a little while longer. Only because I don't like that silver thing. But anyway, moving on. They have to show up. They have to actually show up on your eyes. If you wear glasses, you cannot have shadows that just fade away into nothing on your face. And most people don't want that anyway. However, for people with glasses that have something that's going to cover this up and make it so it's harder to see, you definitely need some real strong color. So if I put on my glasses now, silver thing or not, my eyeshadows are probably kind of strong without the glasses, but with the glasses, you can see why I would pick something that has a lot of pigmentation. That strength of color is muted and sort of hidden behind the lens. So I need something that has really strong color. Two, as you all know, or if you've been with the channel a while, you know, I have spots on the inner part of my eye where eyeshadow evaporates. Now, it doesn't slide away from oils. It doesn't sweat away, at least not initially. The problem, it just disappears. The eye can be fine. The inner corners of my eye have always been touchy and sensitive. They tend to water easily. So, but I could have none of those issues and the eyeshadow would just poof. I have found ways to minimize that. However, I have also found that the type of eyeshadow I use makes a difference. If I have to pack the eyeshadow on and I have to fight to get it on, if I have to fight to get some decent color, then that will irritate my eyes, and that oiliness or sweating or the irritation and watering will all show up, and it's pointless for me to even put on makeup that day. So it has to be something that has pigmentation that goes on fairly easily. All that said, it also has to be repairable, meaning that if the color does disappear, which 9 times out of 10 it does, I need to be able to replace it again without having to pack or push or irritate the eyes to the point where it becomes pointless to wear anything. So most of these eyeshadow palettes are pigmented, most of them. One, it's probably pigmented, but there's a skin tone issue. I pulled it out specifically for that reason, though. They have to have pigmentation, they have to have easy application, and I have to be able to reapply when it disappears when I need to. It's nice to have it in a palette that I can carry with me, but that's not necessarily necessary when I'm filming. And if I'm going to go out somewhere, I usually make sure to use smaller palettes that I can tuck in my purse and not worry about opening. The other thing I tried to look at, and not for all of these, this has not been the case, but the other thing that I tried to look at is if they had products beyond eyeshadows that I like. Do they have blushes I like? Do they have highlighters I like? Do they have foundation I like? Things of that nature. A couple of them I haven't tried all of those items. A couple of them I tried more items than others. So yeah, I tried to get things that had stuff other than eyeshadow. There is one brand in here that is just eyeshadow, and they pretty much impressed me right off the bat. So that's one of the reasons why they're in here. I want more of their stuff. I do. So that was the second criteria, was that if they had things that other things that I liked. Third thing was, for me, is price point. Now, because I do have a number of these that have higher end, I do have at least 2 higher end brands in here. When I say price point, I looked at what they offer at that price point, and even if they're a luxury brand, if the price point made sense to me, it goes on. The quality of the shadow is good. It is worth the price I'm paying. The number of shadows I'm getting per price is also worth it. There are a number of places that I would like to try that I haven't, that are probably more expensive than what I have here. Sugar pill, I'm looking at you. But for now, this is what I've tried and this is what I've liked. So for these, in terms of price point, their price points made sense, and the quality you get is good for that price point. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to start with the least favorite in the list and work my way up to the first. So number 5 is ColourPop. And there are reasons why it is number 5, and you'll see when you see the other choices I have. I have so much ColourPop. I'm showing you, I have their Dream. This is their Rainbow, Chasing Rainbows palette. This is the Chasing Rainbows palette that I picked up. And I also have pulled out my custom palette that I made for Christmas last year. That includes highlighter, blush, and bronzer in addition to the singles. I love the biops they offer, the build your own palettes, and the pricing for that. Their pressed powdered shadows and most of their pressed powdered bronzers are great. The blushes are great. I actually used this palette to sort of update this look from a previous filming, and they reapply over other shadows. They reapply over themselves very well. The pigmentation is beautiful. The silver is just gorgeous. I'm just going to grab a couple of these. Oh, Zutolo, I think I missed one. So these are the colors from this palette. That's that silver. So one of those is a gold and one of those is that yellow in there. So basically one has a sheen and the other one does not. One's matte, the other one has that shiny. I do not like their Super Shocks, and that's just a formula thing. That's just a thing that I don't want to have to fight with my eyeshadow to get it on. I don't want to have to use my fingers. I like using brushes. I will occasionally use sponge tip applicators. I do have a couple of the Super Shocks that I have kept, but in general, the whole lot of Super Shocks that I purchased to do a ColourPop review last summer have all gone to my kids because I just have a blush of that I like. So they've got other things. Now, I'm wearing the mascara today. I like the mascara. It does seem to have issues in humid, hot weather. I am not getting those today. I'm getting a little bit of issue with my under eyes looking a little blue, but that's what happens with me and having to pat things down and fix. So, but anyway, yeah, I got problems with my eyes, guys. But anyway, but I do like the mascara, and like I said, my only issue with it is that it does smudge, it seems, under certain circumstances. I have to figure out those circumstances so I know when I need to bring a backup with it. The eyeliner, it's not one I would repurchase. I have a ton of their liquid lips. These are only 4 of them that I've kept. I did end up giving quite a few to my daughter. I really enjoy the ultra metallic and the glossy and the satin formulas. I don't like the matte ones. I've tried their blushes. I've tried their highlighters. Anyway, so in general, they may be like number 5, but that does not mean that they're a terrible brand. They're actually, like I said, they're among my favorites. They're above a whole ton of other brands that I've tried. I've got a lot of their palettes. The pigmentation is beautiful. They reapply well. They blend well. I highly recommend them, especially if you're looking for individual shadows that you want to combine into your own palettes, or you just want to buy singles, you can get them. You can get a buy-out palette. I think you can get as few as 12 in a palette, or you can get them with their own little case instead of buying single pans and putting them into a palette. The palettes are sturdy. They work well. Yeah, so ColourPop is number 5. So my next favorite brand is actually in here based on only one palette. I do have a second palette of theirs, but the second palette was glitters, and while they claimed it did not need glitter glue, I was fighting it the whole time. So it's going to my daughter. However, the one palette I have has me convinced that they are fantastic with everything else, and I want more of their stuff, and I want to try some of their other things, because I do believe they have lipsticks and things of that nature, but all I have right now is the one palette. I technically have 2, and I can actually bring the other one over. I will bring the other one over so you can take a look. Okay, so I went and grabbed the second one, and I'm going to show that one to you first, and that is the Hip Dot Legendary palette. It's a collab with Rooney. This is a gorgeous palette, and I really wish these glitters did not need extra help, because I don't want to have to buy glitter glue. Now, I want to buy their Rio palette so bad, and it has 3 glitters in it, but the prices of these are $30, and for that price, you get this, it's sturdy cardboard, but they do have a mirror inside, and then they have this other lovely little bonus thing. So they include a little stand so that you can use that mirror hands-free with your palette. I've not seen anybody else do something like this. I find that very, very cool. Both the palettes I have come with mirrors, so that's very helpful too. And here is the Legendary palette. As you can see, it is 100% glitters. They are gorgeous colors, and I really, really, really did want them to work. They, however, did not for me. I think my daughter, who works with glitters all the time, will enjoy this palette immensely. But I just could not get these guys to go down and stay down and not flake all over the place. So there's the glitter shades that I just picked up from there. They're gorgeous, they're beautiful, but as you can see from the swipe down, they start getting patchy. And what I had trouble with is they do not stay. They really don't. They come off. And they were all over my face. They were all over my clothes. I can't deal with that. I'm sorry. As much as I love glitter, it needs to be, I think I just need to stick with metallics and shimmers and things of that nature. Just because I cannot, I don't want to have to buy glitter glue, but I cannot deal with all that flaking all over. And I really was upset that this did not work for me. But it is a gorgeous palette. The colors are beautiful. Somehow they get them to work. I'm sure somehow my daughter will get them to work. I think I'm just a noob. And but anyway, so that was the palette that I'm giving up. And as you see, they come off funky. I'm going to have glitter everywhere for days now, or at least until my next bath. However, it was the first palette I bought from them that convinced me to try the Legendary. That, and they said it did not need glitter glue. In my opinion, it does. But it was the first one, and that is the C note that convinced me that they are just amazing. Again, it's the same kind of packaging. You have your little opening. You can do all that with the mirror. And I love their little symbol. I actually really love their packaging. But here is the C Note palette. And she's beautiful. She's absolutely gorgeous. I have used quite a few shades. I want to say most of the shades in here, but I already know that I have not used like this light brown or this dark brown. I haven't used this one yet. But I've at least used most of the others at least once. Don't think I've used that one yet either. But the colors are gorgeous. The pigmentation is beautiful. I'm gonna get mostly shimmers off. Let me get one more matte. Let's get this deep dark brown. Okay, so they apply beautifully. They work well on my skin. They stay in place. Please remember, oh wow, that one didn't show up that well. Shouldn't be surprised. They stay in place. Please remember, I'm not wearing any primer on my hands. I never do when I do this. I've used them several times. They're gorgeous. They apply, like I said, they apply easily. They got great pigmentation. They stay in place. They withstand my eyes well. The small area that disappears is easy to patch. Yeah, I love them. I love them. They do have highlighter. They have other, I think they have lipstick and other stuff that I do want to try. So I recommend them as somebody to give a shot, to give a try to. HipDot, I wouldn't mind being on your PR list, honestly. I'm loving this palette. Really loving this palette. So this is my fourth favorite brand. Like I said, though, it came in and as a result of just the one palette. I don't have anything else of theirs. I really want to try their other stuff, though. Really. I mean, really. So we are in the middle with my third favorite brand, and that is Juvia's Place. These guys, wow. So I do not have the first palette that I ever got from them, and I do believe my problem with that first palette was not the pigmentation. never the pigment. It will never be the pigmentation with Juvia's Place. It was basically the color selection for that particular palette. I had been kind of eeny, meeny, miny, mowing several palettes with them to give it a start, and I don't even remember which one I picked at this point, but it ended up just not working for me. However, the next one I picked up was this Zulu palette. I really loved this palette. I love these colors. They are highly pigmented. It's just gorgeous. The purple, like most purples, does not come out as dark on the skin as it does in the pan. Oh, well, we better go a little lower. Don't know what happened to one of them. It's pink. But the Zulu for a long time became like the go-to palette for me. It was very easy. It is very easy to use, especially if you're into color. It's easy to apply and build up. They don't have quite the staying power as say some of the the Hip Dot or a couple of the others that are the other two that are further up on our list. They, like some of the mattes, are a little more difficult for me to apply, especially if I'm putting anything like that on the inner corner of my eye. They will disappear. They do seem a little harder to repair. However, overall, these are beautiful palettes. I also have the Tribe, which I have not used nearly as much, mostly because there is so much neutrals in here. But these colors right here, when they were swatched, oh Lord lady, that's what got me into them. They're just so beautiful. This palette is gorgeous. This palette is gorgeous, baby. Okay. When you're blind and you're just applying everything on top of everything else. So those are those colors right there. Again, it's a beautiful, beautiful palette. It has great shimmer, great look. The other palette, one of the other palettes I have, or maybe I think this might be the only one. The other palette I have from them is the Afrique. I'm not a big as a fan of the Afrique, even though it's got a beautiful color story. Some of these just do not work for me as well, but they are still really good. Still have really good pigmentation and still apply very nicely for the most part. I have just started trying their foundation, which is why I'm looking a little dark today. The shade that I picked out ended up being closer to my I've been walking all summer late in August color shade, and I've been using their concealer. Loving the concealer, honestly. It actually worked very well as a base today in terms of when I apply the concealer, I usually go over it with a powder, and then I have to go over that with my primer, because the primer, that combination helps limit me losing in the middle inner corner of my eye. I have noticed with a lot of the other concealers, when I'm applying the primer over the set concealer, that I will get pickup where it looks like it's streaking or balling up or whatever. I didn't have that problem with this particular concealer at all, and I've had very little loss of color even before I applied anything else over this to adjust the look for this particular filming. I had very little coming out in the middle of my eye and this little area where I lose it. So I'm really impressed with the concealer. Price point is just a touch high, but sometimes when you find something that works, paying for it isn't as hard to do. And on top of that, I've noticed with both the foundation and the concealer that a little bit, very tiny amount, goes a long way, which honestly makes this huge wand on the concealer unnecessary. You really don't need that big of a wand because like I said, this, I take it and I dab it under my eyes and it will cover the entire area that I want. The foundation is the same way, just a very small amount will cover. Basically, I use 2 beads to get my face and my chest, and the only reason I get my chest is because my face is so much darker because of the shade match problem. But yes, all it took was 2 beads to cover everything. And I mean little beads. And so jury's still out on the foundation a little bit. I've had a few other issues that I'm trying out to see if there's ways around them. But the concealer, their eyeshadows, I want to try their brushes. I have some of their brushes. Their brushes are great too. I received this brush set from one of my subscribers. I believe it was either for my birthday or for Christmas. I can't remember which. But I use these every day. I use this for my primer. This is a foundation brush. I haven't used this today, but I do use it with a lot of my foundations. I have another foundation brush I like just as much. I use this one to smooth out my concealer and make sure I have a straight line here and not get up into the eyeshadow look. Then I use these for my eyes. I love, these are sturdy. They have a little bit of weight to them, not a lot, but there's no wobbliness. I've had no flyaways. I've had no loss of bristles. Nothing. They're great, and they're soft, and they're beautiful, and they're gorgeous. Highly recommend these. These are a little on the pricey side for a set. $40 or $50, I think, for a set, but they're worth it. They're worth every penny. Wait till they're on sale. You can get them for 25 bucks, and they're worth it. They really are. Highly recommend them. So Juvia's Place is number 3 on my favorite brands. Number 2 on my favorite brands is Alamar. I have been lucky to get I think I got everything, but I think I got all of these in BoxyCharms, and I love them. I was actually considering buying this on my own when it came in a BoxyCharm. I was considering buying this on my own when it came in a BoxyCharm. Their palettes are gorgeous. The first palette had no mirror. A lot of people complained about the mattes. Honestly, these mattes to me performed really, really well. I haven't tried anything else in theirs. I don't know if they have anything else at this point. But they're a brand that I like to keep an eye on. As I say, I don't know if they have anything else. I think they did come out with lipstick or something. But the colors are great. They swatch well. I'm wearing I'm wearing the blush palette today. I mixed this one with this one to get my blush today. You have to be careful with it. If you just go in and then put it on, you're going to end up looking like a clown. But it's a beautiful palette. It works beautifully. I am very happy that I got this in my BoxyCharm because it was one thing that I was really, really wanting. And I'm just going to do a couple of swatches again. The only shadow that I've had any issues with is this El Malecon. She's a bit chunky and a bit glittery, and I've noticed she has the most fallout in the entire palette, but otherwise she is gorgeous. We'll take that one. The mattes feel a little bit dry on the finger. That's El Malecon. The colors are beautiful. They're beautiful. I may not have gotten that green correctly. They work a lot better. Again, I'm not wearing any primer on my hand, so they work a lot better with primer, obviously, but they're gorgeous. From the second palette, let's get a couple out of there. I used this palette today. Again, the mattes feel a little dry when you pick them up. There is some kickback. I haven't noticed a lot of fallout, however. Those are gorgeous. And I used 3 of these colors in my look today. You can't see them. They got covered, but I used them. They're beautiful. So this is a brand I'm keeping an eye on. This is a brand I want more from. So yeah, they're number 2. And my number 1 brand is Violet Voss. This is the first palette I picked up from Violet Voss. This is their Pro hashtag palette with all its beautiful oranges and purples, several neutrals, but it's a gorgeous palette. And this is the first palette that I used that stood up to my eyes. So that's one of the reasons why they're number 1. They have had some misses in recent years, but in general, the quality of the shadows is beautiful. Like I said, they stand up to my eyes. They have lots of pigmentation. They go on well. They usually stay on, but if for any reason this starts to lose it, I can reapply them easily. This particular palette, I believe, is $54, but you're looking at 15 shades, so it is more luxury brand. No, you're looking at 20 shades. So it is more luxury brand than, say, Hip Dot. But I think they're worth every penny. Most, like I said, they stand up to my eyes. The colors are just, these are amazing. I have played with this a lot. This became a favorite palette so fast. It really, really did. So that's some of the shades from that palette. That purple on the end over here, she actually does do better over primer. I've had no problems with her coming up on my eyes. She is beautiful. Like I said, though, there have been some misses. I did request this as a gift from a friend, and they got it for me. It was like for Mother's Day or something. Violet Voss, Nicole Concilio. It's their collaboration. Now, I got this when I was, just before I realized that neutrals don't work that well for me. And also before I realized if you take all the neutrals out, the more interesting shades, there aren't really enough of them. So for me, this is a fail in that regard. It's very similar in terms of all the oranges and stuff, only everything in here is matte. They have a lot less shimmers in here. And my biggest complaint about the Violet Voss at this point is almost every single palette has a black. And there's a palette we'll talk about later that could have done with a totally different color. Even this one has a black down here. And their black is pretty good. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a standout black. That's out of the Pro. That's out of the Concilio. The Concilio palette is my least favorite palette in the palettes that I have. A lot of that has to do with the color story, but also I've noticed that a lot of the mattes in here do not have the same quality of pigmentation as, say, the mattes in the hashtag palette. So I don't know if they still offer this, but this is not a palette I would recommend. The only time I actually have ever heard of people talking about them is like when they have something really different come out. Quote unquote different. And when the Flamingo came out, people were complaining about it. My only issue with the Flamingo is that the pastels can be hard to see on my face. But other than that, they have the same kind of quality of pigmentation. I'm just trying to see what I have here. And as you can see, we've got another black. This is one that could have done with like a dark purple in there or something to go with that light lavender. But I've not had any other issues. I might have a little problem with this one. Look at the little... The pigmentation is great. I think the color story generally works. And if I hadn't just rubbed a whole bunch of that in another place, the black is actually one of the better blacks that they have put out. All that said, like I said, that there have been fails, not just the Concilio in general, like this one. This is the Rainbow palette. I love this palette, but this blue is hard. It is hard to work with. It is hard to get pigmentation from. She shows up fine on my arm. I struggle with her to get her to come up on my eye. These little minis, fun-sized palettes, I just have the fruit sorbet. I have to say I haven't been that impressed with this one either. So they have had their misses, but they are the company that came out with palettes that when I tried them, they were one of the first ones that just didn't fall off my eyes. So Violet Voss is my #1 favorite brand. I really think that they should get more attention on YouTube, more than what they do get. I do need to try some of their other things. They do have a whole lot of other things. I have just never gotten to try any of their other things. One of these days I'll have money to just kind of throw away on some stuff. And so those are my favorite brands right now out of everything I've tried, which admittedly is a drop in the bucket compared to what's out there, not even counting the little itty bitty startup indie brands out there. It's just a lot. It's a lot. Really, it's a lot. And they're all like releasing a lot. It's a lot. It's way more money than I could ever come up with. Anyway, that's it for today, and I hope you like what you've seen. And if you do like what you've seen and it's not subscribed yet, that you will subscribe. If you do subscribe, please hit the notification bell so you know when I upload. I currently upload Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but we do occasionally have bonus videos, including garden, my son opening his crates and things, and occasionally I do some opening of some indie brands that are not on my 2019 list, among other things. Every now and then there'll be other things. Not often, but every now and then. So if you want to see those, you really do need to hit that notification bell. If you are part of my notification squad, please make sure your bell and your subscription are still active. Yes, indeed. I haven't lost a subscription yet. I've lost subscribers, but I have not been knocked off of anything. I've been subscribed, so I'm assuming I pissed somebody off. With some opinion I had they didn't like. But I haven't lost that, but I am still losing my notification bell, so you do want to check that. If you choose not to subscribe, well, I would understand. Not only am I a little older and a little stranger, and today a little oranger than usual, but you know what? You're always welcome to come back here. And when you do come back here, don't forget to bring your cup of tea or milk or coffee or wine or soda, juice, water, whatever you want to bring. Go ahead and bring it. We'd be happy to see you because we love having company. All right, so she has cooled down significantly, and hopefully my lovely Honeybush vanilla is actually going to have some vanilla in it now that it's been steeping for a little bit. Going to give it a taste, and then we will be on our merry way, being weird somewhere else and looking orange somewhere else. Swear. I really should have paid better attention to that color match, because I went, oh, medium, golden, that's fine. It might be a little light, dark for me now. No, hon, it is dark. It's end of August, dark. So let's give a sip and then get on our way. There it is. Yep, there it is. I'm getting both the honey and the vanilla. That's a nice tea. Not impressed with the little honey sticks. I'd probably have to put 5 of them in there to have anything happen. But to me, honey has a much lighter sweetness anyway, and I'm a sweet girl. I like myself some sweet tea. Always. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day.